Fire Emblem, Three Houses, a game that deserves to be played by anyone who loves tactical RPGs. Fire Emblem, Three Houses is a tactical role-playing game for the Nintendo Switch. In this article, we will explore the gameplay features, story, characters, and classes of Fire Emblem, Three Houses, and why it is one of the best games in the franchise. Gameplay features. Fire Emblem, Three Houses combines the turn-based tactical combat of previous Fire Emblem games with new elements such as social simulation and time management. The game is divided into two parts, the school phase and the war phase. In the school phase, the player takes on the role of Byleth, who becomes a professor at the Garreg Monastery, which houses a church and an officers' academy for students from three rival nations. The player must choose one of the three houses to teach. Each house has its own unique cast of characters, story events, and gameplay advantages. The school phase consists of monthly cycles, where the player can instruct their students in various skills and classes, explore the monastery and interact with other characters, participate in optional battles and quests, or rest to restore their motivation. The player can also bond with their students and other characters through support conversations, gifts, tea parties, lost items, advice boxes, and other activities. These interactions can affect the characters' performance in battle, their relationships with each other, and even their romantic outcomes. The player can also recruit students and staff members from other houses if they meet certain requirements. The war phase takes place after a major event that triggers a continental war between the three nations. Depending on the house chosen by the player, they will side with one of them and face off against their former friends and enemies. The war phase features more challenging battles with higher stakes and consequences. The player can also access new classes, weapons, abilities, battalions, and paralogs, side stories, that are exclusive to each route. The game has several main routes, and each route has its own perspective on the war and its underlying secrets. Story. The game begins with Byleth waking up from a dream. They are then contacted by a mysterious girl who calls herself Sothis and grants them the power to rewind time. Byleth joins their father Geralt's mercenary group and rescues three students from bandits, Edelgard of Adrestia, Dimitri of Faerghus, and Claude of Leicester. They are then invited by Rhea, the archbishop of the church, to become a professor at the monastery. Byleth chooses one of the three houses to teach and meets their students. During their time at the monastery, Byleth learns more about Fódlan's history, politics, culture, and religion. They also encounter various threats such as bandits, rebels, beasts, cultists, and invaders from outside Fódlan. They also discover that they have a special connection to Sothis and that they possess a mysterious crest that is sought after by many factions. Byleth also develops friendships and rivalries with their students and other characters. The second part of the story takes place 5 years later, where Byleth wakes up from a long slumber and reunites with their chosen house. They then resume their role as a professor and a commander, leading their students and allies in a war that will determine the fate of Fódlan. Along the way, they will face many challenges, betrayals, tragedies, and revelations that will test their bonds and beliefs. They will also uncover the truth behind Sothis, Rhea, Edelgard, those who slither in the dark, and the origin of Fódlan's crests and relics. Characters and classes. Fire Emblem, Three Houses features a large cast of characters that the player can interact with, recruit, train, and customize. Each character has their own personality, backstory, skills, strengths, weaknesses, likes, dislikes, goals, and dreams. The player can also influence their growth and development through instruction, guidance, support, and romance. The game also features a variety of classes that the player can assign to their characters. Classes determine the character's appearance, stats, abilities, combat arts, weapons, and movement on the battlefield. Each class has its own requirements and benefits that the player must consider when choosing them. The game has 3 tiers of classes: beginner, intermediate, and advanced. There are also special classes such as master classes, the highest tier, and unique classes, exclusive to certain characters. Conclusion. Fire Emblem, Three Houses is a game that offers an incredible amount of choice, depth, variety, and replay value. It is a game that appeals to both fans of the series and newcomers alike, and is a game that challenges the player to think strategically, emotionally, morally, and creatively. It is also a game that tells a compelling story with memorable characters in a rich world. Anyone who enjoys tactical role-playing games should play this game. Fire Emblem, Three Houses is one of the best games in the Fire Emblem series and one of the best games on the Nintendo Switch.